Range Rover Evoque. Yes, it's hilariously, almost insultingly bling for an off-road vehicle. But the most insulting thing about the Evoque is that it's still somehow a legitimate off-road vehicle. Haters beware, the Evoque is basically a Defender in a fur coat, and its sophisticated electronics make it idiot-proof enough to bring banging bass to places that most off-road trucks could never reach. Land Rover Discovery. If the Defender is Britain's Jeep YJ, then the Discovery is its Cherokee. True, the Disco catches a lot of flack in America for being an expensive Luxo cruiser with chrome dubs, but the Discovery is no Escalade. It's got a 2-speed transfer case, locking differentials, cross-linked air suspension, and sophisticated electronic controls that make the Disco a legitimate rock crawler. Ford Courier. First generation Nissan Xterra. History of rollovers aside, the Xterra has always been one of the sleeper choices among off-road enthusiasts. Much of that had to do with the Xterra's pragmatic, stripped-down character, its broad range of powertrain options, the rollover-inducing narrow track that allowed the Xterra to get down tighter trails than most SUV, and the fact that it used a real, no-kidding body-on-frame chassis. More Nissan Xterra 16 of 25, the 25 best off-road vehicles of all time, 6 of 20 the best recreational cars, and SUV 7 of 35 the perfect getaway with the best cars for camping. Jeep Liberty. Hummer H3. All right, the H3 isn't exactly in Jeep Ranger or Land Rover territory, but compared to the H2, Hummer's H3 was practically a mountain goat with cleats and a batarang. Based on the smaller Colorado, the H3 weighed a full ton less than the H2, but had the same ground clearance, could still ford 24 inches of water, could climb a 16-inch vertical wall, and could negotiate 60-degree grades with 40-degree side slopes. With 37-degree approach and 22-degree breakover angles, locking differentials, and a 2-speed transfer case, the H3 really did have the specs to make its military forebear proud. Sadly, it never did get out of the H2's shadow before Hummer fell by the axe of worldwide recession. Isuzu Trooper. Toyota FJT Land Cruiser. Mercedes-Benz G-Class. Imagine a German-engineered Jeep YJ with 4 doors, a luxury interior, and enough cachet to stay cool on Hollywood Boulevard. That's the G-Class. And if none of that is quite enough to sway you, there's always a 500 horsepower mill courtesy of AMG. Suzuki Samurai. Ford Ranger FX4 Level Roman II. Mitsubishi Montero. Ford SVT Raptor. 40 years from now, when Wrangler publishes a list of the best classic off-road trucks, Ford's Raptor may well end up at the top. True, some might bemoan the loss of the last generation's 411-horse 2-liter V8 and its awesome exhaust note, but the 2017 model's EcoBoost V6 isn't likely to disappoint in the power department. Keep an eye out for the inevitable 1,000 horsepower Veloci Raptor from Hennessy. Full-sized Bronco. The Ranger-based Bronco Roman II has long been a favorite among enthusiasts, and for good reason. But the F-Series-based Big Bronco is one of those trucks that almost instantly became a legend in its own time. There was a time in the 1970s and 80s when you couldn't find a beach in America that didn't have at least one Big Bronco with its rear roof section off. It's at least as good off-road as any F-150, which is definitely nothing to sneeze at. But more than anything else, Big Broncos are just cool. Always have been, always will be. Jeep Cherokee XJ. More Jeep Cherokee XJ58 of 141 world automobile sales by model 1886 present, 12 of 42 the best off-road SUV and off-roading vehicles, 30 of 30 the best project cars for beginners and expert mechanics. 2005 Dodge Ram Power Wagon. Land Rover Defender. England's Jeep CJ in all but name, the Defender is a Cold War design that still finds favor among off-roaders. Britain's military preferred them to American Humvees, mostly because Defenders were half the weight and could be hauled two at a time under airlift helicopters. Defenders have continued in service overseas, seeing action most recently in Afghanistan and Iraq. Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. This might be Jeep's hardest core off-roader to date, including the old CJ. In an odd departure from the bigger, is better evolution of most models. The current JK is actually 5 inches shorter in overall length than the TJ it replaced. Much as it might pain some to admit, the JK is everything the CJ was, plus 40 years of development, electronic controls, and a lot more power. About the only bad thing you can say about the JK is that it's much more complicated than the CJ, and electronic everything isn't exactly ideal off-road. But that's just how it is these days. Chevrolet Silverado Z71. To fans of older trucks, these newfangled Silverados are too complicated, too heavy, too civilized, and just too pretty to be called real trucks. That said, it would be an absolute lie not to say that the GMT 900 chassis is objectively in a different league than anything the C/K sat on. So are the drivetrains and suspension systems on offer now. Like it or not, if you're going to call any GM truck that isn't a Hummer a good off-roader, you can't not mention later model Z71s. Hummer Home. Or Hummer Home 4 of 35 police vehicles, police car models chosen in US and Canada, 162 of 228, the ultimate dream garage, 5 of 42, the best off-road SUV and off-roading vehicles.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care. Bye.